As we read this week's portion of the Torah, Parashat Korach, Bamidbar, the book of Numbers, chapters 16 to chapter 18. We were reading the story of the coalition of Korach and others who actually opposed the leadership of Moshe. And the main claim that we see in the words of Korach appear in the chapter 16, Pasuk Gimel, verse 3. They assembled against Moshe and Aaron, and they said to him, "You have taken upon yourselves too much, sons of Levi, for the entire community is completely holy, and the Lord is among them." Their claim is the entire community is completely holy. Our scholars tell us that one of the questions that Korach asked Moses was, if a person is wearing a talit, a tzitzit, is wearing clothing which is totally of blue, does he also need to put tzitzit on the corners of his clothing? And wondering what exactly is this question referring to, and where did this concept of this question come? And we have to read the story of Korach with the background, with the perspective of what we read in last week's portion of the Torah. In last week's portion of the Torah, we had those 12 tourists, the 12 spies that Moses had sent to Israel to explore the land, and they came back, and their message was that though the land is very, very beautiful, and the fruits of the land are so unique, but the peoples that are there are so strong, and they use a very interesting concept, and they say, we were, in their eyes, as grasshoppers, and so were we in our own eyes. Meaning these men felt themselves, that though they were leaders of tribes, they referred to themselves as people who were very, very small. Who are we? We are very weak. We have no way of competing with those great giants that are in the land. And though these leaders were punished, but God said, in every complaint, there's always something true. And therefore, at the end of last week's portion of the Torah, in chapter 15, verses 37 to 41, we have the Mitzvah of Tzitzit. And what is the Mitzvah of Tzitzit? You should put tzitzit on the corners of your garments. Speak to the children of Israel and tell them they shall make for themselves fringes on the corners of their garments throughout the generations. But there's an emphasis. And the emphasis is they shall affix to the fringe of each corner a thread of blue wool. And why? What will happen? For what purpose? And it says, so that you shall remember, and you could perform all my commandments, and you shall be holy to God. Which means that God tells them, no, you're not so small. You're not grasshoppers. You are holy people. And it's interesting, the word in Hebrew is tzitzit. Tzitzit and tchelet. The word tzitz and tchelet are used in the Torah before for the high priest, the Kohen Gadol. Has 8 garments. His most holy garment is called the tzitz, the head plate, the crown. So God tells each and every one of the Jewish people, you are all, each and every one of you, you are you are a small priest. You are a Kohen. As before, when God gave the Torah to the people of Israel, He said, you are a mamlechet kohanim v'goy kadosh. You are a holy nation, but also you are a kingdom of priests, of kohanim. Yes, don't refer to yourself as so small. Each and every one of you is a holy person. Each and every one of you is a priest. Now we come to the other extreme. Gets up Korach and says, we're all holy. Where did he hear that? Where did he study that? Where did he get the idea from? From the tzitzit. Because God said you should wear the tzitzit throughout your generations, on your garments, and each and every one of you is holy. So now we're coming to the other extreme. If the meraglim, if the those who went to explore the country, the land, referred to themselves as very small. Korach says exactly vice versa. We're also holy. We just received the mitzvah of tzitzit. God tells them, each and every one of you, from the coalition of Korach, had people from each tribe. Each tribe should bring a staff. Where should he bring the staff to? He brings it to the tent of the testimony, Ohel Moed. And what happens there? We're going to show that Aaron was the chosen leader, was the elected Kohen. But if that's what they're going to show, why do they all have to bring a staff? They could have just brought Aaron's staff. And look at the next day, if Aaron's staff would blossom, then we would be able to prove that he's chosen. There wasn't an argument whether maybe it's Zvulun or maybe it's Asher. The question was about Aaron. So why did they each have to bring their staff? And then afterwards, it says that at the end of it, when they each brought their staff, and the next morning, their staffs blossomed, and I'm referring to the verses of the Torah of chapter 17, verses 16 to 24. It says they each brought their staff to the tent of testimony, and there they each wrote their name on their staff. And at the end, what happened in the morning? And in the morning, I'm reading from verse 23, the following day Moshe entered the tent of meeting. He noticed that the staff of Aaron from the house of Levi blossomed. It brought out all the staffs before the Lord to all the children of Israel. He showed them all. But they blossomed, they sprouted buds, and they produced almonds. The terms in Hebrew are Vayotze Perach, Vayatze Tzitz, Vayigmol Shkedim. Blossomed, buds, and almonds. First of all, we see the word tzitz. Appears here again. Yes, Aaron is a Kohen Gadol. What the Torah is teaching us here is that Aaron is the only chosen high priest. But where does he receive his energy from? From the very fact that there are the staffs of all the nation, of all the tribes. And this is what he's telling us. Yes, each and every one of you are holy. Aaron is holy not because he is holy and he's above everybody, but Aaron is holy because he's connected to all the people. Therefore, Aaron is represented in many descriptions as the man who chases peace. He's connected. The tribe of Levite, which was spoken about in this week's portion, as God chooses them and God gives them special missions. The word Levi, when Leah called her son Levi, she said, now my husband will accompany me. The word Levi means yilavucha, accompany you. They are the connection between God and the people. So not on the one extreme, we saw the spies who thought they were very small. On the other extreme, there was a Korach who said, no, we're all priests. God says, the concept is there is one chosen high priest, and his name is Aaron. But he has nothing to do on his own. And not only that, at the end of the day, each one of the tribes took their staff back home with them. And the expression was that Aaron is not on a totally different level and he has no connection, he's connected. And it's very interesting. We spoke about Aaron's staff blossomed, Vayotze Perach, Vayotze Tzitz, and it sprouted buds and produced almonds. The tzitz, the buds we spoke about, tzitz. But where do we find blossoms and almonds? In the vessels of the Mishkan, the tabernacle, we see the Menorah, which is there are two vessels in the temple that are made of pure gold. The Menorah, candelabrum, and the tzitz, the high priest headplate. Yes, the menorah is made of one piece, showing that they're all connected. What's the shape of the menorah? It's symmetry, 3 branches on each side, but they're all facing to the center. They are all facing to the center. Aaron is the elected high priest, but he is trying to connect them all to face to the center. And he, as representing God in the world and representing the people in front of God, this is the message that God teaches us in this week's portion. Korach, yes, everybody is holy by being connected to God. But there's one elected high priest, and he's Aaron. And we in our eyes, sometimes we refer to ourselves as very, very small. No, we're very small. We have no. And the other time, sometimes we think ourselves, we're all so important. God says, there's something in the middle. Don't refer to yourselves as small people. Nothing. You all have a mission. Your mission is because you are connected to God. Because you are one of the staffs that belong. And the word in Hebrew is mateh, which also means a tribe. And also when the spies were elected, there was one from each mateh, from each tribe. But the word mateh also means the staff, the stick. But the stick, the staff, that gets its energy from the fact that